The satellite phone buzzed at 0300 hours. I was standing ankle-deep in blood that wasn't my own. Kandahar. The air in the mess tent was thick with the smell of metal and sand. I assumed it was just another routine check-in from command. It wasn't. Your pathetic mother is dead, and your brat is next. A man's voice. Cocky, American. Then I heard it. My son screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, help me!" Then static. My heart didn't race. It slowed to a cold, measured beat. Something inside me, something I hadn't felt in years, went utterly still. Precise. The voice came back on, laughing. "Your wife said you'd fold. Said you'd hide behind your apron." He didn't finish. I ended the call. 30 seconds later, a text message lit up the screen. "Don't come back. We don't need a coward." Her name. Her number. My wife. The woman I married before my third deployment. Before the birth of our son. Before the funeral. They all thought I worked in the base kitchen. They had absolutely no idea who I really was. I stared out into the endless desert, and something deep within me shut off for good. I had built her a safe life with clean hands. That was my first and final mistake. Every sweet lie she had ever fed me tasted like sugar until this very moment. I replayed the messages in my head. Not her voice. His. The arrogant laughter, the sheer confidence, the certainty that I wouldn't come back. Not, couldn't, wouldn't. She had planned this. The phone records laid it all bare. Daily calls, shared photos, private jokes. While I was here, scraping sand out of dead men's teeth and pulling a trigger for a country that didn't care, she was building a new life with someone else. I wasn't just betrayed. I was systematically replaced. The man on the call knew where my mother lived, knew where my son played, knew exactly what to say to make the crack in my chest feel like a gaping canyon. That wasn't random. He was in my house. He was wearing my clothes, sleeping in my bed, reading bedtime stories to my son with the same voice I used to calm him after his first night terror. And she let him. No, she invited him. I requested emergency leave. They didn't question it. I'd earned that much, at least. But I didn't go home. My first stop was my mother's house. It was empty. Eerily quiet. The curtains were drawn tight. Mail was stacked high on the porch like a pile of forgotten promises. The coroner's report was dated 4 days before that call. Overdose. No prior history. No note. But she had called me the night before it happened. She left a voicemail I never received. They told me the file was corrupted. I started to remember little things. Casual omissions in my wife's calls. Stories that didn't quite add up. How my son once whispered, "Mommy has a new friend, but I'm not supposed to tell." I pulled our phone plan records. Months of late-night calls to the same unknown number. Pings from locations near my son's school, my mother's nursing home. I ran the number through a secure database. A dishonorably discharged corporal. Domestic abuse charges. Sealed files. She knew. She had to know. And yet, she brought this man into our son's life. There are betrayals far worse than infidelity. Far worse than lies. She gambled with my son's safety to fill some void inside her. And she did it all thinking I'd never know, believing I was just a cook. The DNA test came back overnight. My son, but just barely. A 92% match. She had lied about the conception date. I remembered that night. I'd been deployed. She told me she got pregnant during my leave, but I hadn't been home for another 2 weeks. I asked her about it once. She cried, told me I didn't trust her. I never asked again. I printed everything. The test results, the phone records, the inconsistencies in the coroner's report, the call logs, the photographs. Photos of him picking up my son, his hand on my boy's shoulder like he owned him. I waited until a Saturday, when I knew she'd be home. She opened the door and froze. I didn't say a single word. I just handed her the thick file. She tried to speak, her voice a stammer. I raised a hand and silenced her. I watched her face as she flipped through each page. Her skin paled. Her eyes screamed. She dropped the folder. Then, she dropped to her knees. I just walked past her, into my own house. He was on the couch, playing video games. My son was next to him, drawing. I entered like a shadow. He looked up and smirked. Well, look who decided to... I placed my sniper badge on the coffee table. The one I never told anyone about. The one buried in a case under my real name. My mission name. His mouth stopped moving mid-sentence. He stood up. I didn't blink. "You're not supposed to be here," he stammered. I took a step closer. "You made a call from my wife's phone. You threatened my child. You used my mother." My voice was ice. "You thought I worked in a kitchen." I allowed a cold smile. I was 2,100 yards out when I took my last shot. Silence. The guy never heard it coming. I handed him a sealed envelope. Inside, a restraining order, a police report, a military-backed custody claim. All pre-signed, sealed, and utterly untouchable. "Touch him again," I said, "and no one will ever find you." He didn't speak. He just nodded, defeated. My son looked up. "Daddy?" I knelt down and held him tight. "We're going now, kiddo." He clung to me. Behind us, she sobbed uncontrollably in the hallway. I didn't look back. I don't hate her. Hate is a wasteful emotion. I see her clearly now. A woman who wanted more than just safety. A woman who traded a protector for a predator because he made her feel something reckless. But emotions don't raise children. Loyalty does. Discipline does. Silence does. I didn't take revenge. Not really. I just reminded them exactly who I am, what I'm capable of, and how deep silence can cut when it has been earned. They thought I would break. They forgot who they had trained. They forgot who they had betrayed. She texts me sometimes. I never respond. He doesn't dare breathe a word. And my son? He sleeps safely through the night now. The final shot I ever took was the one I didn't fire.